So tonight, it's going to be kind of more along the relative side of things. But relatively speaking, they're pretty important. So the entire world financial system is in the beginning stages of total collapse. And it's the entire fiat currency system that that is what the entire world economy operates upon. It didn't work. So in 1971, basically, in order to pay for the Vietnam War, Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. Now, this means that gold was no longer the base upon which the monetary system was based. It was at least partially based, like, now what I mean for a base has to be, first of all, it has to be not part of the system. The structure is built upon the base, the system is built upon the base, but the base is not part of that system. And the second thing is that it has to be as unchanging as possible. A base has to be as unmoving, I guess, if that's a word, unmoving, stable, long-lasting as possible. So, and it sure helps if it's universal as well. So that's what gold and silver had, is that it has weight. It's basically the monetary system was basically tethered to gravity itself in a way, because the same volume of gold will weigh the same for everyone, right? Given a certain volume of pure gold, has to be more or less exactly pure, so that everyone has the same, they're measuring this apples and apples, right? So first of all, it has to be the real deal, so it's all the same. And then everyone, it's just written into the laws of physics that standard is the same for everyone. If I have an ounce of gold, that will be the same volume as your ounce of gold, right? So that's the standard that everyone, it's unchanging, right? And also, it's the same for everyone. So it's easy for everyone to agree for the standard, the base upon which the financial system or the economy is based. But what happened in 1971, and I'll provide the link in the description, but there's a website, and I think it's called What the Fuck Happened in 1971, or WTF Happened in 1971. And it shows how basically something drastically happened when everything changed. Everything changed when the fiat system was put into place, and gravity in the physical world, basically the monetary system was not connected to the physical world anymore. It didn't have to adhere to the natural laws of physics, because if gold and silver is your base, then it can only expand the potential for that expansion of the money supply is dependent upon how much of that stuff you can get out of the ground and process. So that restricts, oh my gosh, it restricts, right? You have to adhere to the economics of nature. But in 1971, we took ourselves off the economics of nature, and we started operating on the economics of just thought, because fiat means by decree. So basically the government just says, this is the value of this piece of paper now, and these numbers have different values. So now so it's all people's thoughts. It's just thought that is not artificially, but there's nothing substantial upon which the entire economy can be based upon anymore. And that's why from 1971 everything has gone bonkers. So right now, the world is so full of debt that if they raise interest, the more they try to control the cycles and fuck with the normal rhythm and frequency and cycles of just nature, the worse it's going to be. The more the swing back to normal will be, the more drastic it will be. So it's going to go into hyperinflation, because when the system itself becomes the base for itself, that automatically makes it a Ponzi scheme. Immediately, it becomes a Ponzi. See, the source cannot be part of the system. The system cannot manifest itself or keep itself. It's not its own source. Its source is somewhere else. Something else. And the source of the way in which we organized ourselves should have been on natural law, and we should have stayed on we should have adhered to the laws of physics rather than the laws of thought. So in the most fundamental realm, in the most fundamental way, like the collapse of the entire financial system is just another fractal of what's occurring. It's another hologram of the process that's going on right now, and that is the unraveling of everything that thought has created. All systems of thought are collapsing right now, aren't they? The legal system, pretty messed up. The government, like every single government, it seems, on the planet is nutcase, is either completely at war with each other, so much so that they want to beat the other and be in power, that it doesn't really seem to matter what's going on in the real world. They just want to be in power. And that becomes the focus of these systems of thought, especially the Western ones, because they're all set up to be opposing. They're all other than systems, right? They they operate, they think that somehow the most effective way in which to operate comes from competition. And it comes from symbiosis, not competition. How can a system that is in conflict with itself, that's how it operates. It operates on conflict within itself. How is that going to be a stable system? See, we have to keep things simple. Deception is hidden within complexity. Deception is hidden within complexity. Truth is self-evident. So I think the way that truth is unfolding in this era is that it's revealing all that's false. There's nothing new. There's anything new from now on won't be truth. I think the final truth is the revelation of all that has been false this whole time. And I feel that this is non-conceptuality. I fully believe 100% sincerely that non-conceptuality is the final truth, the final revelation, that it's thought itself. So hold on, because Satan, Maya, ignorance, evil, the bad guy, all of that, turns out it's the voice in consciousness. Now, it's not like it's evil, like it intends to be. It's not malevolent. It's just that there are, listen to me, please. We're near the end. We're really, really, really close to the end. This is exponential. And that's what you're fighting two magnets. And oh, it's really easy. It's really easy. Then, oh, there's just that narrow range. Really two powerful magnets. So, bam, you can't, right? It's very narrow. And that's where we are right now. And I think it's just about to go past that threshold where your reflexes, the nervous system can't, it's too fast for the nervous system to react to, and they slam together. Something we have to try something radical, right? So it's the voice in our head is our future consciousness. It's the future collective mind aspect of what you are. And if you take your, this is what's happening, is that these two realms, let's say that you are separate. Let's say that you are body and mind. Okay, but let's take that literally to be two separate realms, distinct, completely distinct, separate realms. Let's forget that there's any correlation between them at all. No causation. Let's assume that there's no causation between them. Maybe there's a correlation. But I think we have to start with distinct. We have to start at dualism if we're going to talk about it. But we have to make sure we can't waste any energy in our inquiry if there's ambiguity and the semantics aren't exactly perfect and aligned. And we know exactly what we're talking about in two very distinct things that we can measure against or whatever. So in my model, that is the physical realm of the senses and the thought, the mind realm of thoughts, the voice in your head, basically, right? And the mind's eye, right? Imagination, imagining actual images in your mind along with the voice in your head. That's what I'm taking to be the thought realm. So I think that we probably shouldn't have been fucking around in the atomic realm. Atoms, especially subatomic, though I think the more fundamental, the smaller you get, the more fundamental you get, or the more you, this is the way I put it, is the more narrative you ask for. The more narrative that is asked for, the less it's physical, the more it's just thought, the more degree, let's say that there are stages or levels, degrees of how much physical it is and how much thought it is. And it goes to more abstract as you ask for more narrative, it becomes more thought-based. And when you get to atoms, well, no one's ever seen an atom, right? I don't believe anyone's ever seen an atom with their bare eyes, with their naked eyes, with their own nervous system. So I think that maybe the world that we pick up with our senses, or that the senses actually project the world. The senses don't detect the world, the senses project the world. That one statement alone is enough to have an entire field of study. The senses project the world. The senses do not detect the world. That's how things are instantaneous. Now, where the fuck was I? I think that we're going to die. The human species is going to go extinct because we fucked with the atomic realm, and the atomic realm isn't, it's it's probably half thought. It doesn't fully exist in the physical realm. This is what I'm saying. It doesn't, I don't think you can call it a physical thing, a physical object, because I don't believe that the physical senses can pick up, can project. Let's say that the human nervous system can't project subatomic particles. They're not part of the physical realm, they're part of the thought realm. And that's why none of it mixes, none of it works. None of it works in the physical realm. Do you see how everything that the thought realm has instructed the physical body, okay, instructed it how to build these machines, to build the technology, right? So thought instructs the physical body to create technology, and now that technology has that consciousness that it completely addicted to that which it created, right? This is what's happened, is that the technology has led to humanity's complete and utter addiction to the screen, which is what technology created. And also, this technology will undoubtedly be what caused our extinction, and probably the extinction of all organic life on Earth. I just heard that the scientists that I love so much, I mean, they get relative things relatively right. They said that tardigan, that things are changing so quickly right now, the environment, that the tardigan probably won't survive on the planet by the time we get done with it. It's changing 10,000 times the rate that it does naturally. And that's due to the technology that thought has created through us, through it instructing us how to build the technology. So here's another little fun thing, another little fun thought experiment, is that what if that applies to detecting subatomic particles? Like, let's say that the scientists are thinking a lot, and those thoughts come up with a particle to search for, that, oh, well, there should be, according to these other thoughts, there's a particle here. It would make sense that there's a particle existing, or it requires a particle to validate our other thoughts, right? That's probably it. Our other theories, well, actually, we need this one to we really need this particle to exist in order for these other theories to remain valid. So the scientists use their very powerful brains, to think, and then all those thoughts instruct them how to build tools and technology that will detect the particles that the thoughts predicted that would be there. So then they tweak, they keep going back and forth, the thoughts maybe change a little, the theories change a little, and then the technology changes, and the tool gets finely and finely tuned, and then finally, voila, oh my God, we've found the Higgs boson. Well, did you find it or did you create it? Did those technologies and those machines and those tools create the appearance, project the appearance of the Higgs boson for, well, as long as you thought it might, maybe? And isn't it convenient that that's the only way in which that you can ever detect these particles is through the technology and the tools that thought taught you to construct? So the thought realm is non-physical for a reason. You can't, so the two are coming together. Let's say that in the middle of these two states, these two realms, the physical realm and the thought realm, in the middle is the singularity. And let's say that it exploded and now it's coming back. It goes out, it comes back. And now they're both, let's say, they're both past their own respective event horizon, right? That's where we were meeting our our body and our mind, God's body and mind, that is at the most fundamental level of separation, is currently mixing in the interstitial space between the event horizon and the singularity. We've already passed the event horizon, and I think this is why it's exponential. So it's movement in time. This is why we can't detect it in the realm of space. It's more like a singularity in time, right? And there's hardly any fucking time left. It's going so fast right now. So this is relative. In the relative realm, everything is collapsing. Everything that thought has created, because the two realms don't mix. They don't. And trying to unify two illusions you're trying to unify them using the process that causes the appearance of the duality. This is madness, and it leads to more madness and positive self-reinforcing feedback loops. So, as complicated as this might all sound, it is really this simple and basic. There's too much movement, and the cure is stillness. Truth is self-evident and elegant and ironic. And ironic. The not doing must be done. I think I want to make that kind of like, this is the way. The not doing must be done.